very warm welcome to my channel. I am Shanti, and in this video I wanted to share about a particular kind of books which are not all of the same genre, but they have helped me for a particular purpose in my life, and that purpose is to help with my anxiety. So I am a person who's already very prone to anxiety, and the kind of consumerism world that we live in today, it makes it extra hard for someone like me, because there are just so many options to buy a variety of things from, so many activities that we can do, and so many places to travel to, so many experiences. So it can get really hard to focus on what is truly important, to prioritize on what brings true happiness and true contentment to my life. So these are the particular books that have really helped me in that sense. But before I start, I also wanted to talk about the idea, like how exactly these books help, right? Because if you don't know exactly why these books help and how these books help, then it may be, you may not find these books helpful, even though they are something which can help you. You may not be able to take the help if you don't know exactly how to use them. So what I want to talk about first is a little bit about slowing down. I feel that one of the biggest ways in which you can address anxiety is to really slow down. Slow down doesn't mean that you stop everything, that you don't be active, you be dull all the time. That's not slowing down, okay? It's very hard for me to explain exactly what is slowing down, but I will try to explain that through these books that I am telling. One thing that you can know beforehand is the difference between movies and books. So the kind of content that you consume through the movies and the kind of content that you consume through the books. Let's say there's a mystery genre, right? So when you have a thriller movie that you're watching and there is a thriller book, okay? So when you're watching the movie, it's more fast-paced in nature. When you are reading the book, even though it is thriller, and let's say if it's the same story also, it's going to be much more slow in nature. So your mind, your body, everything works much slower when you are reading a book, okay? So that is the experience of slowing down. But similarly, if you take a movie which is very, very calming in nature, very slow, or about topics which are not very intense, and if you take a book which is a thriller, right? Still, a book has more potential to slow you down, because it still takes longer to read the book, and it involves a lot of other things, like you have to imagine, and there's so many different details that you read through the book, which will allow you to really slow down, even when compared to a slow movie. All right, so this is a difference that you need to know beforehand, okay? So now let's talk about a few books. So the first kind of books is picture books. So I have talked about them quite in a few videos before. I've made a separate video on this, and this is a book which you must have seen online a lot of times. It's pretty famous. So like I said, movies and books are more slowing down in nature, right? So even within books, once again, if you sort of draw a spectrum, on one side you have slow-paced books, on the other side you have fast-paced books. So these are the kind of books which fall towards the side of slow-paced. So even within books, these are the books that you can choose from if you really want to slow down and to relieve your symptoms of anxiety. These are the books to go for. And the next kind of book is storybooks, okay? So not all storybooks, once again, will help you slow down. So this particular book, Flipped, is a story that I have been repeatedly coming back towards in order to really help me escape for a while whatever is the reality of my life for the time, but it's also helped me really slow down. And after I complete reading the book, I am much more, calm in nature. So, of course, if you are someone who is not, reader, it might be hard to find books like this. So, a few examples that I can give you is this is one example, of course. It is about a couple of teenagers who are trying to figure out life and love also. And it's all about perspective. It's not really solely about the story, it's about the way in which they grow as people. So that is what you can expect from this book. Another kind of books that have really helped me is Jane Austen. So when you compare the classics, right, Jane Austen is one of the very few authors who writes about topics which are much more calming in nature. So let's say compared to a book like written by Charles Dickens, let's say, and a book written by Jane Austen, definitely you should go for Jane Austen if you're looking to slow down and address your anxiety, because it talks about everyday things and not very intense topics. So that is one thing that you could look forward to. And yes, if anything else I remember, then I would, yes, Ruskin Bond is another author who really writes about things which are everyday in nature, more everyday in nature. So one book that I have read which I have really loved is Tales of Foster Gunge. It is about the everyday life of a variety of characters in a particular village in the hilly areas of India. So this is I believe one story which has really helped me. So that is one kind of books. Now another book is The Cottage Fairy Companion, which I have made a separate video on. I will leave the link for it in the description box if you want to know more about it. So when I made that video, it was when I read the audiobook version, and this I have bought the hard copy as well for a lot of reasons. So I will talk more about this book even further in a separate video if possible. But this is a book which is very emotional for me because I am particularly influenced by the author who is a YouTuber. So yes, this is about cultivating mindfulness, and this I believe is one of the perfect books to actually help with your anxiety. And I guess I will always go back to it at least once in a few years, because that's just the kind of influence that it has had on me. So yes, this is one such book. And another book which I also want to read you an excerpt of if you're interested at the end of this video is The Golden Years by Ruskin Bond. So this is not a story, it is a non-fiction. So this is a compilation of essays that he has written about life in general, the little appreciated things of life. And in fact, this is the book that has really helped me, that has really motivated me to make this video, because of late this is my most recent read, and I have been reading this book out to myself at nights, and that has really helped me calm down. And I've also noticed that if there is a particular day which I want to take rest, then if I start with this book, then that has really helped me, because what we start, the kind of activities that we start in the morning, it sort of sets the tone for the rest of the day. So if you're starting the day with a kind of book which is like motivating in nature, you can do this, you can do that, and a lot of new ideas are coming up, so it will keep your day full of activity if that's what you need. But if you're looking to slow down and if you're looking to take rest because you're exhausted mentally or physically or creatively, then this is the kind of book. In fact, all these books that I've told about, these are the kind of books that you could look forward to. So the one excerpt that I wanted to read is chapter 25, An Empty Room. So if you're not interested, you can just fast forward this to the end. Everyone needs someone to hold his or her hand, especially when they are small children or when they are old and on their own. It isn't easy to handle loneliness. Joining a crowd in the marketplace doesn't help. You have to come back to an empty room. As a lonely boy, I would go to the pictures and lose myself in the world of Tarzan, or the Wild West, or the mysterious escapades of Dr. Fu Manchu or Sherlock Holmes. However, after the film, I would walk home to find my mother and my stepfather away on a shikar trip, hunting animals being fashionable in those days. My infant brothers had an ayah for company, and my dinner was in the pantry if I wanted it. But for me, there were books. Thank God for books. There weren't many in the house, but there was a small lending library down the road, and for 2 rupees a month, I could read as many books as I liked. And during my winter holidays, I read at the rate of one a day if they were thrillers, and one a week if they were Dickens or Conrad. As a boy and as a young man, and even as a 60-year-old, I was always a great walker. As a lonely young man in London, I got to know the city by walking everywhere, from Primrose Hill to Kew Gardens. And here in the mountains, I have walked to remote villages, from the foothills to the tree line, and I have made friends along the way. In some ways, I was lucky because I had these escape routes. The unlucky people who really feel the hurt of loneliness are those who have experienced a happy, busy family life and then suddenly lose a partner and find there is no one to hold their hand. The children have grown up, gone abroad, and started their own families and find it difficult to come home and find time to spend with mom or dad. I have seen this happen to many old friends. Some of them take to drink, either at home, on their own, or at a bar in a club or hotel where they might find someone to talk to. If you are living alone, it helps to have a vocation or hobby. Stamp collecting is out of fashion, but even that's better than hitting the bottle. If you have had an interesting life, you can try writing your memoirs. Reading always helps. My neighbor doesn't care for books, but he watches old movies on YouTube. Fair enough. I watch them too, occasionally. Walking might appear to be a lonely activity, but a long walk will always take you somewhere, and you will discover others as well as yourself. Get out of the house. The song of the bulbul is preferable to the squeak of the mouse. And always a pet, the company of a dog or cat. But animals need looking after. They have to be fed and they have to be disciplined to some extent. One of my friends got tired of a cat because it insisted on doing potty on her favorite sofa. She gave the cat away and kept a dog. But the dog would bark at shadows all night and prevent her from sleeping. Now she prefers to live without pets. Solitude is bliss, she tells me. But solitude and loneliness are very different from each other. So this is one chapter from the book, The Golden Years. So it's filled with, with little essays like this, 1 or 2 pages at max, and they are really, really helpful for you to calm down after an exhausting day, or if you're looking for forward to a holiday, a calm day, then it makes a good read for the morning as well. So yes, that's all about the kind of books that have helped me with my anxiety, that constantly help me even now with my anxiety, because anxiety is not like a disease that it will go away, right? It's a feeling, just like hatred, anger, happiness, love. These are all feelings. They are not something to be healed from, right? So we have to ensure that we are giving our emotions the safe space that they require, the compassionate maintenance that they require. So that is my take on how you can deal with anxiety through books. Of course, through a lot of other things also you can help your anxiety, but through books, this is one way. So that's all about this video. If you did like it, then don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment any other ideas that you have tried out which have helped with your anxiety. Yes, that's all for this video. See you in the next video.